Okay, here I'm here at the park here, so I'm doing a recording. I'll try to keep it short because I'm actually going back home. I had to do stuff like, yeah, including this thing like shaving myself. And then, yeah, I need to do stuff. I think tomorrow I hopefully can get a haircut and things like that. I wanted to just talk a little bit about this thing that was on my mind ever since I came back from South Korea. Actually, I was back since last Saturday, so it's been almost about I think 6 days. Yeah, officially that'd be considered Sunday last week. So I really haven't had time to talk a lot about my travels there and travels. Sometimes we travels. Those periods are always time when you start thinking about people, the way they behave, how they think, and also how, in relation to that, how I actually view myself. So that kind of actually features a lot in the so-called growth process. I think for some people like me, that especially after getting out of narcissistic abuse it might seem easy, it might seem like no, it's not easy, but it seems like a kind of like a process. And after a while, after years, people think, oh yeah, you recovered. Or maybe if you haven't recovered, people will just ask, why can't you just move on? But it's not really just that. Okay, so you have to remember that one thing about healing is that it's not a linear process. You can think that you're healed for years, that everything is okay, and then after that you get hit by a trigger, and then you realize, oh damn, I'm back. Not necessarily square one, but I'm back in that whole mood again. I don't feel good about myself, or I don't feel good about the state of things. And that was what happened actually back in, was it May? I think it was May or June when I saw that video posted by someone of the ex-narc. The ex-narc seemed to have hijacked my whole life past. Stealing my job, not stealing literally, because it's not in the same office or same workplace, but in the same industry that I used to be in the fitness industry, and competing, winning and stuff, and they seem to thrive. Okay, that's the one thing that you get kind of gets to you when you don't see them, you don't get updated on them, but you see third party feeds and you realize, oh, this person is there. And that's when you realize I need my boundaries, so I block that federation's feed. And then, but guess what? When you tell friends that you don't follow, then these so-called friends, okay, they'll be like, yeah, I am. They show you it's kind of like a discomfort. They don't understand your boundaries. I said, you know what? I guess what I did. At the end, I realized they're not gonna understand it. They think it's just extreme, but I said, forget it. I didn't say forget it, but it's something similar. But yeah, I said, it looks like you're unable to understand why I do the things I do to protect myself. Never mind. I just said, I wrote never mind. I don't care whether I want to stop. I want to stop explaining myself to people, even friends, so-called friends. Because if you don't want to understand why I'm doing this to protect myself, then the issue is not on me. The issue is on you. Okay. You don't know what boundaries are. You don't know what people are doing to protect themselves. You don't even know what it is to crawl out of darkness and despair. And yeah, at this stage I can't handle all this. And it's very funny because I told a friend actually this one thing when I was in Korea. Actually, I didn't manage to meet all my friends. I had actually 3 friends I wanted to meet. I wanted to meet my Hyung, my brother, and who's in Cheonan, and then not real biological brother, but my Hyung, as in what do you say, brother from another mother kind of thing. So yeah, that's I always call his his mother Omoni. So, but his mother is like in his 90s now, and she's very healthy, here and hearty. But I think he's been very busy, and I didn't get a chance to meet him. And a friend from Hong Kong who's a single mother in Korea because her ex-husband is Korean, and then her daughter was born in Korea, and so she was just trying to. I think she's very quite busy and stuff. But I did manage to meet one of my friends. This one friend always calls me Hyung because obviously I'm older than him a lot. So I was talking about things like my own relationship. He said he wasn't in a relationship, so he doesn't really care that much at this moment. I think he's more busy going, having fun and everything. And I remember the last year when he was telling me, I asked him, you gain weight, but does it really bother you? He said, no, I don't really care. He said he's very happy. He said this thing, he said in Korean that, so he said, Hyung, when you do use body profile photo shoots, it's like for kiloga hagi wihe. So it's for the sake of doing all this. So he said for me is maintaining a good condition is something that I actually need to do. But he said that for him, he doesn't bother so much about it, so he doesn't get affected, he doesn't think about it, and so being kind of a bit on the higher side of body fat is okay with him too. He said even if he said I'm very happy with this kind of body shape, he's not fat, he's not skinny too. It's just like, I would say, average in a sense. He used to be a bit more, I would say. He had a joke once. Remember, he said something about in Korea about something is a thing of the past. He said about the abs. He said or something imi kwago. Not it's the same meaning, okay. And he says like you really think of the past. But you kind of realize when you have friends like that, it's really really good, and you realize that friends really bring you out a certain kind of state. When I guess the one thing is, especially when you realize that not everyone sees the same thing the same way, but the good friends, the right friends, will always help to bring you to a right perspective. They're not the people who say to register discomfort. In fact, I remember when I was telling him about my two relationships. The first ex, whom I still remember her, she's like somewhere else. I don't think she's talking to me for a lot of reasons. I'm not sure why, or maybe it's just that people ask me, is she attached? No, I don't think she's attached. I think she's still single, and she's still as beautiful as before when you first met. But yeah, she looks like the actress Elijah Lee, but they call Aliyah Lee in Korea. But yeah, she looks a bit like that now. And who else? Actress Go Yeon-jun. So yeah, she's that beautiful. But there's something about her, that aura about her, that I can't remember, I miss. But she didn't contact me, so it's not an issue. I can't say much, I can't force anything. But then I was telling him about my second relationship, and I said, oh, that one treated me like competition. Everything. Then he said something. I think he was trying to get me out of it. He said, yeah, the second one, the ex was an ex nut. So I said, can you remember that he said something? Don't think about it then. I mean, I think if it's not good for you, and you are treated like a source of competition or rivalry, then the best thing you should do is to not talk about it. Okay, not talk about the person, and move to a space. Because he said himself, he said as a friend, Hyung, I think I really want you as a friend. I really want the best for you as a friend. That you should be with someone. But if it doesn't work, and or if you are really deeply scarred and traumatized by this, including the experience of being assaulted, that you remember all these things, then I guess that he said the best thing is to really heal and recover. Yeah. So I kind of think that these are what friends are for, and then yeah, it is better than people. That sometimes when I was talking to a psychologist about this, she said that friend of yours really wants the best for you. You can tell that although you are separated by distance, and the fact that he tried to tell you, get to a space where you think about something else, or don't think about the things that cause you the pain, the PTSD, the trauma. That makes a lot of sense. And she said something. She said, you know what? National Day is coming in Singapore, so that's tomorrow actually. She said maybe you want to consider going to starting with like going to cafes or whatever, no more new people, you can just check them out. You feel that there's something weird about these people, don't associate with them. Don't you can block them. Or I mean, she said nowadays you have social media, everything, but you can add them. But other than adding them, you can also block them. You find that they are weird. And she said, I just want you to get a state. I think as a psychologist, it's the same thing. She said, the fact that you actually remember your first ex very well, and you even talking about her, you haven't really forgotten her. You said no. I don't think anyone will forget first love, but yeah, I don't think I have forgotten her. I'll be honest, I haven't forgotten her at all. I don't know if she follows my social media. I don't know if she's thinking, oh dear, Kevin is talking about me, but maybe she doesn't know, but I don't want to guess about it. But it's the kind of feeling, and then I realized, after I come back, and then the whole thing. Okay, I'm going on a tangent, talking about friends. I'm talking about also recovery. How do you get to the state? Actually, what I want to talk about is something about this dream. The dream I had was I had a dream yesterday night. I can't remember the dream anymore, but I remember it's a very kind of strangely, the kind of experience. I won't call it a deja vu experience, but it's an experience where you wake up, you feel that something of the past, some kind of strong yearning or desire, all of a sudden just dawns on you, and then after that you realize, oh wait. I feel that either I've experienced this before, or this feeling was in my heart of my life at one point in time, and then it was just gone like that. And so that kind of feeling, the kind of yearning for that feeling caused a sudden sense where I felt as if, there were tears on my face. Okay, and I don't always have this kind of experience. It was a very strange deja vu experience, and I remember I just closed my eyes, and then after that I just said, oh no, I was closing my eyes, I was just praying, I was like thinking, and then closing my eyes, saying, praying, God, I don't know what will happen again after all that I've been through, and after narcissistic abuse, when I feel that my ability to love or to be even just to make friends or whatever, have totally been almost feeling, there's a feeling that it's been destroyed. Then you be thinking, oh, like, God, I was asking God, how can I restore it? How can I find that soulmate? Okay, if there's one anyway to begin with, how can I find the soulmate? And even the soulmate doesn't need to even be a lover, it could be a friend, very, very good friend. And then but God, where's the soulmate? Bring a soulmate to my life. Let me find that soulmate. So now it's funny. I made a video once about saying that soulmates are very dangerous to us, because the idea that the more that we believe in this whole thing, we can be abused by other people, and we can be ghosted by them. Whether it's friends, whether it's lovers, whether it's people who believe that there's a right one for you, even as a friends or whatever. And but soulmates don't need to be perfect. They can meet you where you are, and that's the point. Even in your most vulnerable, your worst moments, soulmates are the people who actually still they'll still meet you, yeah. And sometimes I joke once, people say, oh, it's so funny, your soulmate, are they your nephew and your nieces? So, yeah, maybe they are. No, but I barely even talk to them nowadays. I mean, except when they come on Saturday. So yeah, but the whole thing, talking about soulmates are always in the realm. Are they in the realm of dreams, or are they for real? Okay, and then especially after narcissistic abuse, you're thinking, am I having a dream that is impossible? And then you think about it, and then you pray, you definitely pray to God, especially if you're a Christian. So and now that I think in retrospect, when I look back, I think, yeah, some of the things I really fell prey to with regards to the ex-narcissist and all these different people in my life. I realized that sometimes, yeah, like oversharing is not good, but it's just another different issue. But recently I had talking about this dream. Dreams are very important, so I want to talk about. I'm talking about these dreams now, but dreams not just in the realm of aspirations and dreams that we cherish, but dreams as in dreams in the head when we sleep. Okay, so we know that one thing. We know that narcissists are dream killers. Okay, they kill your dreams. They kill your ability to dream of certain things. I think that after narcissistic abuse, after that thing ended, I thought that I would never become I'll never be able to teach or lecture again in a university. I thought that it was gone. Then even I thought that even my fitness dreams, like working in a club, all this, it was gradually coming to an end. At the point, I didn't realize that actually I thought that it was meant for me to stop doing things like competition. But recently I told my friend something, because I was invited by a federation to try to compete. But then I said, do I do it? Don't want to do it. Then later on, my friend, someone said, you know what? Your condition is not that bad. You need to decide. That's a main factor. Decide. And I told him I decided. And he said, okay. Then this is a Taiwanese friend of Credence. He said, 加油, buck up. Okay. He said in Chinese, so Mandarin. So it's just when you realize, people who really mean well for you, they don't just mean well for you. Even sometimes there are good people out there, and these are the people who want you to work on your dreams. I kind of remember, that friend in Korea who asked me to change the topic to something else. He asked me once, like, what is this D50 something that you're talking about? I said, actually it's something that I signed up for. And he actually gave a thumbs up and said, yeah, that's good. I just think that right now we need to do, I think, especially as we are in this stage, like now they say it's Mercury retrograde. I don't know how true it is. Like, things from the past will come back. The retrograde season is actually now, if I'm not wrong. Then we have the shadow season is really probably over, so things are really in full swing. And then we definitely come up to this stage where we have like flashbacks and everything. I already had the flashbacks when I was in Korea. I'm not denying it. They were there, but I haven't shared about it. And they're very strong flashbacks. You remember things like what the exes did to you, the narcissistic exes. Sometimes it's not even exes. Sometimes it's just people who abuse you, okay, who treated you badly, and then they were helping the ex indirectly via proxy to terrorize your life. And then sorry, I'm just trying to do some stretching. But and then you also have things like you wonder why there were so many conflicting emotions that you have. Back then you know that they're not good for you, those exes, those narcissists, but you still want some form of validation or affirmation or some kind of love and attention from them, or at least some acceptance. And then the way they play on your rejection, and then the whole idea about your dreams getting destroyed. There was this icon I recently came across. It's a Christian icon. It's a drawing of the Old Testament scene. Where Jacob, the Old Testament patriarch, the one who not Jacob, Joseph. Joseph and his I think 12 brothers. Yeah, 12 brothers. They tried to kill him. Okay. By basically throwing him to a ditch. It's ridiculous. This sibling rivalry, everything to the extent. Okay, but as if it wasn't enough, they sold him into slavery in Egypt. Okay, that was during the Old Testament times, in the book of Genesis. And the worst thing was that, in Egypt, although he was sold as a slave, he wasn't treated very well. That the thing is, his master Potiphar, the wife of his master Potiphar tried to actually, it was funny, it was a case of basically the female assaulting the male, trying to seduce him and everything. But Joseph, being the man of principles, refused. Okay, it was mentioned in the Old Testament that Joseph was a very handsome man. Yeah, he was a very handsome, well-built man. He was a man of good proportions. So I'm assuming, judging from Middle Eastern standards, he must be pretty good looking back then. And And the thing is that because he refused, uh, during that scene of assault, basically he ended up leaving behind his coat, and then the Potiphar's wife actually created this big scene where she accused him of assaulting her, although it wasn't the case. Okay, it was basically a wrongful accusation, and he was thrown into jail for something he didn't do. Okay, so the whole thing about this thing about being framed and having your so-called dreams destroyed and killed because of or destroyed just because of some people's jealousy and everything. It just makes you realize, how far do we come to restore them. And then I realized, the thing is what my friend said about this thing concerning even especially my time, the decision to actually go back and sign up for this competition again, and then realize, whatever the results, what, I'll just do it, okay? If I don't do well, just pay the price, that's all. It's not a big deal. But for so long, I took a break, and then after that, the ex-narc was literally doing a destiny swapping, and then taking away hijacking parts of my life and what I did, everything. Then I think that the psychologist was trying to be realistic. She said, yes, the ex-narc did, the second ex did hijack your life, okay? Doing the same jobs you did, copying you in certain things, sometimes even winning or thriving in it, supposedly. But she said, you don't know what it is. Social media is so deceptive nowadays, and I think all these people who meanwhile will try to put it in perspective. And she said, I told her that I wanted to sign up for the competition. I signed up for the competition. And I said I paid a few $100s for that. And she said, but you know what? The money is not the issue. And then she said, I'm glad that you're trying to pursue your dreams regardless of what the people are doing, including the ex-narcissist. And then I realized, that the thing the icon I had of Joseph, the dream was is an icon basically, in which Joseph was sleeping. While he's sleeping, he had a dream in which there was a ladder reaching up to heaven. Okay, and then from heaven, all these angels were moving up and down along the ladder. Obviously, the one at the top of the ladder, there's a visual representation of God as because there are three persons in the Trinity, but the most obvious visual representation was Christ himself. Okay, he is God incarnate. Okay, so there was a pre-incarnation form person of Christ. Okay, and that icon was kind of like, it struck my mind. I just took a snapshot and realized, these dreams that Joseph was a man. That even in the Mormon church, I don't want to talk about Mormonism, it's a different thing altogether, but you realize that why is it that this scene was such a thing that even that all these Christian-based cults and religions also took it, and then the whole idea of Joseph, what he saw, okay, through the dream realm, he accessed what God was showing him, and because he could interpret dreams, okay, even Pharaoh, okay, in the end, sought help from him to interpret the dream that he had, okay. 7 cows eating fat cow, 7 fat cows being eaten by 7 lean cows. So it was like 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of famine. Okay, so and this dream, this interpretation of the dream, which no one else, not the court magicians, not the priests of the Egyptian religion, no one, not even the wise man in the Egyptian court could interpret except Joseph. This thing which he had, however, access to with God, okay, it brought his release. And he actually, I remember that when, with the scene where he eventually came up to see his father, and his father couldn't recognize him. Actually, his brother also couldn't recognize him because he was placed as the next second in command. He literally, after the pharaoh, he was literally like the prime minister, okay. And then can you imagine at the point in time he'll be dressed up differently? He won't be in Hebrew dress. He'll be in like Egyptian costume and everything. So obviously people will think that, oh, he's someone else, but it turns out to be Joseph. And then when there was kind of reconciliation between his father and his brothers, he said something in that was in Genesis 50:20. He said, "You, his brothers, you meant it for evil, but God turned it around, okay, that I might save millions. Okay, God used something that was so bad, as the potential death, or it could have evolved into fratricide or murder, but it didn't, obviously. Something that was so bad, and things like wrongful accusations or all this stuff, God turned it around, made Joseph a savior of not just the Egyptian people, not just his brothers, not just his father, not just the Jews who are living in Egypt, but even the Egyptians too. Okay, so and let's not talk about things like chosen ones and whatever, because that even I remember that one parent, a Christian parent of a student, former student, the mother had told me this. They said, actually, if you think about it, this whole idea of chosen one, we say that back in the Old Testament, the Hebrews, the Israelites, are the chosen people of God. They were the people from whom God became incarnate, eventually in the person of Christ. But in a way, you should say, if you look at it this way, even the Egyptians can be considered a chosen people in a different way. I was like, that's a very interesting way of looking at it, but I'm not sure how that comes about. But if you think about, the Egyptians, Egypt was effectively a Christian country even before Islam came and colonized it and everything and forced their beliefs on it, and that kind of makes sense to at least to that extent, where the Coptic church it's not really growing, but it's still there. Okay, the Egyptians stood by those Coptics, they stood by their faith. Okay, there were martyrs, 21 martyrs. Their souls are now probably in heaven before God. But let's go back to the idea of dreams. I think about this whole idea of dreams. Like I always feel that my dreams are being destroyed by the ex-nut. I still blame the ex-nut. I'm not pretending I don't blame the ex-nut, but I remember that God actually, because God, there are times when I actually think about my life and I realize that God is turning things around, and that kind of thing, the ability to dream hasn't died yet. As long as I remember that thing, the fact that I'm doing all these things right now, I'm going back to teaching in the university, although I don't know how long it's going to persist. I still pray. God, I hope that I pray, give me the chance to be able to keep on doing this for the next few years, okay, until I really get to a stage where I can be another healer, another form of healer, okay, a counselor or psychologist for people. Till then, okay, let me fulfill what I think you want me to do. I also pursue my dreams, like competing against still in bodybuilding and physics, while I'm still relatively young. I'm not turning any younger, okay, because next year I'll be 50, but I think I'm still relatively in good shape, so I guess I have maybe 1 or 2 more years before I decide let's retire and hang out all this kind of posing apparel or whatever. But yeah, that's the whole thing about dreams. One thing is this, I kind of realized too, you can say I'm not going to do this thing, this dream, but this dream will come back and haunt you, I don't know where I heard this before, but I think, is it a Tyler Perry thing or someone else? Tyler Perry talks about letting the dream guide you. He believes that sometimes dreams are from God. God gives you a dream for a reason. Dream not just in this dream in the head when you sleep, but also a dream as in a kind of aspiration or goal that you want to do. And sometimes they're not always based on personal selfish desire. You'll be surprised, actually. I know that some people think that these are all based in selfish desires, but no, it's not that, okay. Probably only the very, very fundamentalist Calvinist Christian will think that. They say everything is just like that. But no, I think that there are certain dreams which are there for a reason, and that God will actually ultimately make you face them even if you don't want to do it. Dream is like a calling sometimes. Like for example, Jonah, he ran away from this thing, and God actually kept on making him face it, like in the belly of the whale for 3 nights. Okay. Until the whale eventually spat him out of the belly. That was a kind of funny story, but some people will say that doesn't exist, but you never know. It's a prefiguration of Christ, obviously, in the 3 nights, 3 days in the womb of the earth. But yeah, but about dreams, you know that I kind of just want to reiterate this whole thing over and over again. Yeah, I mean, I'm not denying that the narcissist has done a kind of like not even, it's not soul swapping, it's actually destiny swapping. On the surface, it seems to have hijacked our lives, but the story is not finished yet. You're still alive, okay? Yes, they are alive. They might seem to be doing well, but you're still alive too. And as long as you have that breath, the breath hasn't returned to God, okay? Then you have the responsibility. We have the responsibility to live our lives to the best that we can, And these dreams that we have, if I remember writing once to say, these dreams that we have, what was it? It's called Requiem for a Dream. That was the title of that thing I wrote. But you know what was the funny thing was that at the end of the Requiem of the Dream, that segment, it didn't seem to really die. I said, dreams will come back. They will come back and haunt you if you give up on them. You think they are dead. They are not dead. So, yeah. Don't give up your dreams, just because someone tells you that you can't do it. They say nasty stuff about you. They lie about you. They even try to sabotage you. Guess it? They sabotage you. They get people to help them, to copy you, to win at you. But guess what? Don't do this kind of thing, okay? Don't go and say, it's over. It's not over. It's not over till it's over, okay? And trust me, God will actually make the dream come back to haunt you. Dreams are very, very resilient. They're more resilient than you think they are. Like, yesterday, that kind of dream I had, I woke up having tears in my face, and some people say, I told a friend in the dream, say, wow, this is like you really actually woke up a dream. Before I even told him that, he said, do you wake up with tears on your face? Yes. Then he said, then I guess that your heart is really yearning for it. Then I realized actually, that it's not that I say one of my dreams was that competition thing, but the other competition was the thing about finding my soul, finding love, or finding a new friends, people who really are on my side. And I said that I realized that the desire for love, the soulmate hasn't died. It hasn't died. It's still there. It's in fact, it comes back to haunt me like a thing. That I always wonder, especially with this kind of icon of Joseph, the dreamer. Then I realized you can't give up on your dreams. Okay, don't ever give it up, and don't think that they are ended. When you think they are ended, God will make them return, to haunt you, and then you'll be thinking, how I'm going to find it, how I'm going to make them realize, how I'm going to realize them. Yeah, that's when you realize it's not the end. Okay, the song from Gaho in Huang Hu Pum Gyok. Huang Hu Pum Gyok is the last empress. Yeah, this drama series, it was very close to my heart in some ways, but it was also about this whole thing about a girl who's an actress who ends up marrying to the royal family, and then there are some characters and everything, including the crown prince who was exiled, who wrote a story about what he witnessed of a murder, basically of his sister-in-law, the first queen, okay, or the first empress or the first queen before, that means to his older brother before he married another one. So all these different things. So it's kind of realized, and obviously there's a Elijah inside. Something that people don't really know. Actually, my first ex, she was very, very beautiful, like Elijah Lee. But the character that she enacts was a very evil woman. So the whole thing about that thing was, it just reminds me of something. There was a debate between her character of the mistress of the king, as opposed to the Empress, who was enacted by Zhang Nara, okay, who said that you know what, people who cheat, these people like thieves, always blame people of they blame the landowners, the house owners, for not locking their doors, when the issue is with their defunct morals. It just reminds me of, this is the whole point. Narcissists always blame us for not being careful enough. It's our fault, that we got them in, but they are also defunct in their morals. Okay, they do everything they can to sabotage us and make us give up on our dreams. You know what? No more numbing ourselves, no more dumbing ourselves down for these people. Okay, no more killing or strangling our dreams, or trying to kill or murder these dreams. Please don't do that. Okay, I know that some people don't have an idea what their dreams are. I think we do. I think a lot of us, the more empathetic ones, we have dreams, certain things, hopes that we have. Don't give up this dream just because of someone. Don't just because of what you went through. Please don't do that. Okay. I made a pilgrimage this last few years, and when I was supposed to, I actually stay in Singapore and think about some things like preparing for competition. I actually made a pilgrimage during those few years. I wanted to seek God and say, God, what is my life going to end up to? And I realized that, especially when I was in Greece, I kind of experienced some things. I realized that, it was so strange. Heaven and earth, heaven and hell, is only there in what we experience with our nose. You know why? People will laugh at me and say, you're crazy. But I smell it, in the cathedral or church of the Metropolitan Church of St. Gregory Palamas in Thessaloniki. Very right near his sarcophagus, the coffin, is silver. There was a strong, overwhelming smell of perfume. The perfume, it was a complex smell. The scent of heaven, people who have been in the presence of God. That in the presence of the narcissist, the ex-narcissist, the second ex, I smell something that was a bit different. What kind of smell? It's very musky smell. A foul smell. I can't explain. It smelled like human ejaculate, mixed with sweat or something else. Something I can't explain. It was really, really foul. It was a very strong smell. Yeah. Now I only realize, you know what? We are very near to heaven and hell. There are people who embody it. So you know what I'm going to say? I'm just going to keep it very simple because this is getting very long. Don't give up your dreams. Your dreams will come back to haunt you. Okay? And not only that, as time goes by, we need to start thinking about what our dreams are. Go and search that for those dreams. It's never too late, even if you are very old. Like me, I'm next year I'm going to be 50, and I realize I don't know how many years ahead I have. Okay, people say, "Oh, are you having midlife crisis?" Maybe I am, maybe not. But those yearnings are still there, and I think that they haven't died. Just because I'm getting older and whatever. When I was with the ex laugh at me for different things, say that I'm not good enough this, I'm not good enough in that. Then you go and do it yourself. You can do it, I can't do it. You think that I will believe you now? Liar, people of the lie, people of Satan, people of the devil. So, no more of this. No more dumbing myself down. No more dimming myself. If God gives me His dream, I'm gonna find ways to get to it. Okay? Even if it's not from God, and it's not from the devil as well. Even if it's just a dream, I'm gonna find out why I had this dream. Is there a reason why I had this dream? Not just a dream I had when I was sleeping, but even this dream as an aspiration of the heart. Okay? Because our hearts are very closely either tied to God or tied to the devil, to the self. We need to find out what we are doing. Okay? So anyway, that's it for now. This is all. Okay, have a good one, everyone. Okay, I'm going off to have some late meal dinner before I go to sleep. Okay, and do other stuff as well. Okay, everyone, bye bye.